I'm your host, Kelly Morgan, indie author and indie publisher. Welcome to another episode of The Author's Mic. Welcome to today's episode. Hey everybody, Kelly here. Welcome to another episode of The Author's Mic. And you know that it's Monday because I have a guest with me. Today I have author, creator, Marilyn Burnette. She has a book called Defy the Power of Emotional Pain. She is going to be talking about everything that she's got going on. I'm so excited that she's here and sharing the platform with us. Marilyn, welcome.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm so happy to be here. And happy Monday to everyone out there.
So I want to find out all about, I went to your website and I see all the great stuff that you have going on and all the ways that you're trying to help people. So tell me how you go from an IT person to what you're doing right now.
Thank you, because that is a little bit of a surprise. Because I spent decades as a programmer and a business systems analyst. So I was used to looking underneath the surface and asking what's really running here. Um, and then I found myself moving to another chapter. And since I was doing IT for decades, I had experience writing and writing documents and all kinds of different things, mostly technical, nothing from the heart. And I thought for sure that I was going to be writing a book called Data Management on a Budget, because that's what I knew. Very practical, very logical, very me. Um, but I kept feeling pulled into a completely different direction. I had this itch to teach about emotional pain. It was something that I had read about 20 years ago, and I kind of went on my own little journey while I was working, working over here, kind of working on myself over here, kind of thing. And over the years, I found what worked and what didn't work, and um, then I started to do the writing. And I had this itch about teaching about emotional pain bodies, but I kept trying to put it on the back burner. But eventually the back burner apparently filed a complaint because I couldn't ignore it anymore. Um, then my book, Defy the Power of Emotional Pain, just took over my being. It had to be done. Um, and it was a good launch pad for me. Um, and the book did really well.
And so when was the book published?
A little over a year ago, February 2025. And when I launched it and I was trying real hard, I was able to get a lot of good reviews. Uh, I had solicited, hey, you can have a free book to, just give me a review. The reviews that came back were just, I mean, I was astonished. They could have written anything. But some people went into real depth about what it did for them, what they feel it could do for others. And I said, boy, this is really something. And I had to keep going. So so that's when I fell into mastermind business systems with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziali about a year ago. And I've been growing ever since, growing my business, growing my brand, and forgetting about a book a little bit. So, but I love the book, and people have come back to me face to face. That's a really good book. So very inspiring for me.
So you've got the one book. Is there another book brewing there? Are we now an author?
I am an author. I have a memoir I keep putting off only because my business is taking up all my time. I also have about 60 poems um, that could go into a book. I mean, I hear you have to have at least 50 or 60, so I'm going to have to work on that someday. The memoir is almost done, but it is about my struggle, my hardest struggle. And and I think it's important for people to know that I'm not just a fly-by-night person trying to tell you what to do or, give you information or anything. No, I lived this. I, and did I mention I started this 20 years ago?
I
Um,
find it fascinating, Marilyn, when people go through something and then they're so compelled to help others. So like what was the catalyst? Why emotional pain? Like why it's one thing to write the words down to help yourself, but what was the nudge to want to put it out there and help others?
Oh, there was a little divine intervention there because it wasn't what I wanted to do. No, this this is a little too personal. You know what I mean, Kelly? And frankly, I'm sure it's difficult for just anyone to admit they have emotional pain, but I knew I had to. And I knew that I had to be letting people know what it took for me to get through the toughest parts. And it wasn't just one thing. There is a series of things that I put into practice, and and I don't want to say magically because it did take a while. But what I did was get inspired and put all that information into a course.
Mm.
I had one of my people who I sold a book to for $10 and he bought me lunch. That was kind of nice. He came back to me and he had questions. And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's in my course." And, I was almost done with the course. So I sent him on the path to the course. And he found a lot of good out of the course. I mean, he was still struggling. He was having not as much life experience as some of us do. I don't want to say anything bad because he's a really nice person. Love the guy. But he was not happy.
Mm.
And it was pretty clear. And I knew he needed to know more information. He's just the type that needed that, like I did. Let's face it. And so while he went through the course, I checked in with him and checked in with him, and he's like, "Wow, there's a lot of information. I make it engaging so you're not terribly bored." And he learned so much by the time he got past four, or no, actually past module three. He was starting to look better already, because he'd been doing the work. And and knowing what was actually going on inside him. It's so important to know the mechanics of the hidden emotional pain. It really is. And that's what I felt was important, not just to me, but for other people struggling. And now, now he takes me out to dinner. He looks really great, and and he talks about things he loves, instead of pining about what he couldn't have. So, um, I know it helped. He's not the only one, but he's the only one I've been able to see face to face. And I mean, I hear in writing how other people are getting good out of this course, but he's my golden child, if you will.
So if people wanted to connect with you, find out about the book, find out about the course, how do we do that?
I have a website called Logical 2, and if I could find a banner, well, actually, it's here.
I see it behind
So
you. Yep, I see it behind you.
this is my brand
Logical2.com.
name. My brand name is
Logical2.
Logical 2. And I came up with that a year ago because it was time to put practical um, things together, practical and spiritual, quite frankly. And I do believe it takes spiritual to get things going. But I presented it in a practical way, a scientific way, so that anybody walking in, whatever their viewpoints are, I'm gonna hit them with something that'll get through. I just know it. And that's why I built it like that. So yeah, Logical 2 Exploring Broadly is my page, my Facebook page. I need more followers. I'm going for a whole bunch of them by the end of the year. So following me, I'd love that. Um, and what else? I am a personal power coach now, and I want to give away 30 minutes of coaching after you get through a couple of modules, because I know you're not going to need me until like maybe never, but but if you do, we could talk about taking it even further if that makes sense. I really feel like this course is so power packed. And I'd love to talk to somebody about that. And if they feel like, "Marilyn, I've got more questions. What about this? What about that?" And and it is not everything can go on the course, but it's up here somewhere, and I'll be happy to help them out that way as well.
That's fantastic. And so I'll make sure that all the information is in the podcast description of, so that people can reach you and get the book, take the course. get to know you, learn about you, your brand, and we're going to try to get you some more Facebook followers as well.
I appreciate I appreciate every one of you.
So,
Trust me.
Marilyn, I always like to ask people before I let them go, especially those that are so adamant about helping others. And it sounds like you are one of those people that is just adamant about taking your story and then helping others based on what you've lived. And, I think when people do that, it fascinates me because it gives me hope that we do, in fact, are all connected and that we want to all help one another. So I want you to tell the listeners, like if somebody is out there struggling, right? They're struggling today, but can you give them something that they can do today, immediately? Like, can you give me one piece of advice that I can actually put into play in my life immediately to get some type of relief, moving the needle toward healing?
Yes, I can. And it's not everything, but it's such a great start that I have to tell you. It's pain bodies. Pain bodies come from, you know, somewhere else, right? You're not born with, well, actually, Eckhart Tolle says you might be born with them, and that's a whole nother thing. But this can go back to the sandbox, a trauma from the sandbox, you know. And so these things are stored in your ego. They're cataloged in your ego. So that if something similar comes along and you blow up and you don't know why you blew up, most likely it comes from that sandbox and it has been reliving itself, and the pain body has been reliving its, and it loves to live, and it loves and it loves and it loves to live. So, but what it hates is to be recognized.
Mm.
So what you want to do is name it. So I don't know, pick anything. It doesn't matter. I don't care what you name it. The sloobie thing that happened to me in the sandbox, or however far back you can go. I can go back to the sandbox because I've been at this for a while. um, but don't worry, you don't have to go back that far probably. But the same feelings in your body and all that. Give it a name. Give it a name, and it takes the power away. Uh, Not instantly. There's other things that you need to do, but that's one of the most important things, one of the most important steps. There's several, but that's a good one.
Wow, it was so great having Marilyn on the podcast and learning all about ways that she wants to help you through emotional pain. I just love it when people take their trauma and want to help others. It gives me hope in the world. So let me give you my laundry list of things before I let you go. If you are looking for visibility, I've got a new product called TrustBridge. TrustBridge is my curated service in which I will introduce you to book clubs, podcasts, and bookstores who are all wanting to, see you and your book. I do all the heavy lifting. I create the media kit. I'll do the introduction. I'll do all the follow-up. So that what do? You do nothing. You just keep writing good books. If you're interested, go to TrustBridge Author Services and learn all about it. If you're a book club, a podcast, or a bookstore and you want to be in the TrustBridge Partner Directory, it's free. Join the directory. I would love to be able to send you authors as well. If you are an indie author on your journey, I have a free guide on my website. It's called So You Want to Write a Book. Go get it. It's free. It's about 44 pages. I think it's a flip book, and I think you can still get it as a PDF. And then guess what? I'm an author. I've got books. Wait for it. You Sound White. I sell them myself. I will sign them. I will ship them at no charge. I've got some goodies, but no pressure, y'all. You can get them wherever good books are sold. And lastly, two-part ask. You can join Brightheaded, blah, 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 blah. You can join Brightheaded Publishing's book club called the Indie Reader Society, the IRS. Last I checked, you guys, we are at 37 members, and we started from zero. So thank you to everybody who has joined the book club. If you are a reader and you are into supporting independent authors, join our book club. I would love to have your voice. If you're an author and you're thinking, hey, I would love to get my book in front of a book club, pitch us, right? We don't know about your book unless you tell us. All the information is on the website. So you guys, this has been another episode of The Author's Mic. I am so glad when authors come and share this platform with me. You can share it too. Go to the website, Brightheaded Publishing, go to the Be a Guest tab, and be a guest on the Author's Mic. Come on, you guys. Otherwise, I will see you next Monday with another guest.